Provoked by my pride, catastrophic caves in on me. These qualms and these quandaries cast blindly aside, condemned by our stupidity. The light, the dark, the symmetry unite this fragile trinity. Take me back in time, prelude to the past, to the end we climb. The first follows the last. Every barrier, trip every trap, protection my penance to you. Time's trembling threads are just waiting to snap, tight ropes to carry us through. I went from white to black to gray. Over the course I lost my way. Take me back in time, prelude to the past, to the end we climb. follows the last. How long do we hold now? So far.
Hello, and welcome to Final Show Films. I'm John, or Senstaku, as you might know me on Twitter, the executive producer here, and I just want to thank you for watching. It really means a lot to us that people watch, listen to, and enjoy our shows. If you want to help us keep making these shows as fun and lively as they can be, please join your fellow fans in supporting us at our Patreon page at patreon.com/fsfilms or by subscribing to our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/finalshowfilms. It really means a lot to us that the amount of you who do support us continue to do so, especially our $25 plus tier supporters on Patreon. Antitonic, Cat Waterflame, Samantha Bates, Maureen Monty, and Bradley Alexander. Every little bit helps, so thank you to all of our patrons and subs. Check us out on Twitter at Final Show Films and on our website at www.finalshowfilms.com for updates, go-live notifications, and more. We love interacting with you, so feel free to tweet at us or email us at finalshowfilms@gmail.com. That being said, please relax and enjoy. And we're live.
Hello, everybody, and welcome once again to Everyone is Warlocks, Conflux, the Dungeons & Dragons 5th edition campaign that we're running here on Final Show Films. My name is Jack. I am your Dungeon Master and storyteller for this particular narrative. And joining me today is John.
I'm John. I'm playing Elishard Amacy, the human undying pact of the host warlock.
And Jeremy.
Hi, I'm Jeremy. I'm playing Korshan Thakri, Kalishtar, Pact of the Chain Warlock.
And Mara.
I am Mara, and I'm playing Aurelia, human Pact of the Blade Great Old One Warlock.
I was really thought you were going to call her really a human Evans. Like, you're really make sure that everybody knows. By the way,
fellow human.
And Nikki.
Hi, I'm Nikki. I'm playing David Qatar, the Earth Genasi Pact of the Blade Archfey Warlock.
And Cody.
I'm Cody. I'm playing Cole Estasi, the Shifter Pact of the Chain Urchin.
And Aaron.
Hi, I'm Aaron. I am playing Zoe, the Pact of the Blade Assassin. Let's go with that.
Sounds good. William, who generally plays Wotan Salt Spray, our dwarven pirate Pact of the Compass warlock, is unfortunately unable to be with us today because he has alternate birthday engagements. Happy birthday, William. We will continue.
Alternate birthday engagement sounds like you have an alternate birthday.
Yeah.
Like this year, my birthday is on the 7th. Next year, it's on the 14th.
Well, isn't that just what leap year birthdays are?
Yep.
For people born on leap year day?
Yeah.
Potentially.
Born on the
Alternate Birthday Engagements is the name of my Age of Apocalypse Maroon 5 cover band.
Really? It's the name of my birthday massacre cover band.
Anyway, our
They
last
only
moments
perform Sugar ever.
Our last moments in Conflux, though, were spent in the heart of the northern Scalebelly stronghold as the Hawkshead Compact braved traps and kobolds to retrieve a missing friend and a lost relic. Having broken through the initial gauntlet, the Warlocks discovered the warrior Virshana chained to the wall in a prison cell, and a nearby hidden passage also revealed a library of undergress maps secreted away by the kobold smuggling network, potentially useful information for future endeavors. And then in another secured room, the compact finally confronted a well-attired kobold who appears to be in command of the criminals here, Fintar Kettleblack, a dark-scaled individual who surrendered fairly quickly and now seems predisposed in helping the compact in exchange for his survival. So now our eyes are once again drawn to the dim interior of the fortress as Fintar holds out the treasure long sought, the skull of Ernishana the Elder. What little light fills this room glints dully off the gilding of precious metals that encase the skull. Fintar has to use both hands to hold it as he extends the relic out towards the group. Large faceted gems, one clear blue, one cloudy purple, are inset into the eye sockets. Even ignoring the historical value of this piece, it could easily fetch thousands of crowns on the surface to the right seller. I believe it was more or less Korishana's turn at this point.
Yes, I'm going to step forward and take it.
Okay. He'll release it gently. There's a little bit of just almost like there's a very faint reluctance, but nothing extended.
Okay, good.
And
Live longer.
You can hear Vershana next to you, Cora, just sort of release an apparently held breath.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we thought he was gonna try and sell it, and then that was gonna go poorly, and kobolds were gonna die.
I implied very clearly what I wanted out of that.
Yeah. No, it worked.
So we have an agreement, yes?
Indeed.
And he's sort of clasping and unclasping his hands a little bit, just sort of looking around at you all as if slightly unsure what the next step here is going to be.
So, now we have the opportunity to help you help us with your former employers. And get on our way to a glorious future of mutual collaboration.
And aside from obvious things, what do you offer the syndicates in specific? Very intently, not looking at Korishana at all, but focusing directly to Zoe.
Jack, refresh my memory. I outline control over merchant affairs or collaboration with the established merchant affairs and some control over the guard.
You had mentioned, you had alluded to some level of validation in terms of, making the syndicate at least legally recognized to be allowed to do what they do. You hadn't really gone into any specifics particularly, but it was very much the implication, I think, that you left.
That was the thing he was referencing as obvious.
Yeah.
Do I know what would be a good strategy or a reasonable approach for what to offer here? Because my tactic is if they can smuggle us into a shipment that they're sending into Dream
Mercdreamer, yep.
Mercdreamer, or something like that, that would be ideal.
Well, I assume that Zoe's perspective here is sort of trying to come up with some level of arrangement similar to what you have with the Duragar.
Yes.
Okay.
Probably less on the dispensing of goods and manufacturing side and more on the mobility side, the sort of things that a medieval economy might have the guard overseeing.
Transit and shipments and things like that. Right. He's receptive to any sort of offer you have there, but if you go into specifics on getting them getting you guys to the location, he'll explain that the usual routes they take would be difficult for individuals of your stature,
Right.
but he can, at least at this point, provide you with a map to get to where you want to go, more or less. And he'll be willing to provide a guide or two as well.
Unless anyone seems to have objections, Zoe's going to consider that a good place to go for this.
No
With-
apparent objections from Cora.
I was going to say, open the floor for alternate or dissenting viewpoints.
Nope.
All right. He'll nod and then very slowly step one space closer to you and just reach out and push this button directly to the side. Cole, out in the hall with Wotan, you can see the door at the far end of the chamber grind a bit and then begin to slide downward.
Okay.
And revealing an open room with at least one other kobold in it, who turns towards you. And then Fintar just gives sort of this gurgling shout, and the kobold sort of relaxes and just kind of slinks off to one side.
All right.
And then he'll say, I will have my forces stand down for now.
That would be ideal for everyone involved. I don't want to see you losing any more people than absolutely necessary through this transaction.
He kind of darts a glance to his left towards this other button over here that Cora and Virshana are sort of in front of / adjacent, and he would have to walk past them.
Can I get an insight check on whether or not he's about to betray us?
Go for it.
I've been keeping up
I will also
the
Yeah. Several of us.
That's
are
fair.
watching
Someone
this
is
guy.
actually psychic.
yeah.
You've been keeping.
Ooh.
You've just been observing him,
No, I've
Aurelia
been
has?
keeping up. The spell sheet has changed. Everything is showing the entire description. This is very weird. Okay, sorry, I got distracted.
you've been-
Detect thoughts.
Okay.
Yeah, I've been letting that linger.
Ooh, you're right. That's
Oh,
different.
Yeah, isn't it?
okay. That's an upgrade.
What
That's
happened?
new.
Look at your spell
Look
list.
at your spells.
Yeah, I noticed that too, and I was like, oh shit.
That's
There's not-
Oh
both,
my!
both
Yeah, there's
good
not a way to
and now upsetting.
Yeah, there's
It's
not a way to
Curious.
collapse
If you
because-
hit, okay, yeah, no, hit the eye, that collapses it.
Oh,
Yeah, I was
Oh,
gonna
okay.
that's
say
better.
Okay,
That's
good.
better.
the
Because
text looks a little
otherwise-
weird when you collapse it, but
yeah.
Because otherwise, that was gonna be a problem for high-level magic using
Yeah.
characters.
That's why I was saying both good
Oh,
and
yeah.
frustrating.
Yep. Everything's.
Sorry, for those that are just listening to us respond and aren't seeing what we're seeing, the Roll20 character sheet has updated, and the spells all now have an information button that you can click to expand out the full details of the spell card without having to open them up to edit it or without having
Which is
to cast
really
them.
useful.
Which is really
Yeah.
useful, but it defaults to all of those information cards being open, so you just
So
have
your
a
spell
full
page is just
sheet of crap
fucking-
on your
yeah.
thing.
the other
12 pages
teeny
long.
tiny annoyance with it I have is that a similar functionality exists on the main page in the features and traits section, but how you minimize and maximize them happens differently.
Happens
Yeah.
different. That is
Anyway,
kind of
anyway.
annoying.
I've been keeping detect thoughts up, which does mean I think he gets a save. a
If you're-
wisdom save?
He will if you're trying to push deeper and not just pick up surface thoughts.
I am. I don't really care.
I'm just keeping an eye
All
on
right.
him because
Damn it, Aurelia.
I've been keeping an eye on him.
Oh,
Wisdom
man. Rishana and I are totally gonna get blamed for this.
save.
All right, so he gets a wisdom save.
Yep.
He rolled a 6.
Yep. Nope. He does not.
So aside from the normal sort of heightened nervousness of his brain currently,
Mhm.
you push a little deeper looking for what's actually going on underneath the surface, and you just hear, all right now, Fintar, keep you calm. Don't make any sudden moves. You don't want to spook these people. Everything's going to be all right. Just make sure your head stays attached to your shoulders and manage to get things done. Dear
All
God,
right,
I
and-
hope that your people in charge aren't going to be mad at me for making this arrangement with these folks. I do declare this day has gotten completely out of hand.
So even if he makes the save, either way, they know that I am probing into their minds a little bit. So he's got
Mhm.
that.
Yep.
And I will just say, as
He
like what's this
slowly
kind of-
starts edging over to this button,
Yep.
trying to keep as
I'll
far
sort
away
of
from Cora as he can.
Give
Yep.
Cora with a 20 insight check. I get the
Mhm.
sense that he's not about to betray us, or is.
No, does not seem to be.
Okay.
He just seems real nervous around the two that
Everything.
look
I'll give
vaguely a little bit
placating
similar.
wave to Cora. There's clearly a bit of you got everything you wanted. Please let me have this in it.
Yeah. He's not doing anything. Cora is not
Fair.
doing anything. By the way, I don't know what this says about me, but when I'm hearing I'm hearing the internal voice, instead of like all what was probably most people, all I can think of is Calvin Candy from Django Unchained, which definitely flavors how I'm viewing this character right now. Not positively. Especially since he just handed me a skull.
I'm getting Foghorn Leghorn for me, but
All right, and I'll let that fade once the
Yep.
spell finishes.
He
Which is like
reaches
a minute.
out, pushes that other button. There's a sound like you would expect kobolds to do alarms on the level of we've hung a bunch of tin cans off of this hanging wire. That's kind of the apparent level of sophistication in terms of materials they use. The sound is similar to that if instead of tin cans it was, like 50-gallon drums. But there's this just like kind of god-awful jangling that sort of just emanates throughout the fortress for a moment. All right, so yes, we should be in business, as they say.
Very well.
The nod.
And he just sort of steps back.
did he give somebody a map?
Not yet.
That's
He's sort of just kind of standing there, hands clasped in a slightly expectant posture, and you guys do have him cornered in a room.
Yep.
I will give a similar wave to. Let me check who's standing most doorway oriented.
Me. I'm in the middle.
I will give a similar wave to Aurelia as I did to Cora earlier. Of just
That didn't make sense to me. What is what you get in your mind?
I don't think Aurelia can get responses.
No, I can't.
You are definitely aware of the fact that talking back to Aurelia when she's in your brain.
Waving at Aurelia again, and maybe even like making eye contact with Elishard instead. We have an arrangement, of course.
Make an insight check, Aurelia.
Yeah, I'll move over. I think I got it at that point. That first bit, though, I was like,
Trying to be a cool queen of
yeah.
mystery and
Or you could be me and just talk in people's brains.
Only
the
Cora
brain
can
talk
do
is
that.
actually fine. But
Virshana gets the message as well, and Fintar, now with an open avenue, relaxes a bit and strides out
I'm
towards the library.
I'm following right behind him, maintaining
Okay.
the position that I have maintained this entire time of just looming right behind the kobold.
As
I
long
want
as
to go to the library too.
I was gonna say, as long as his approach is not obstructed, he'll lead into the library.
Yep. Definitely follow.
I'll stay back a bit.
Okay. He putters through the shelves for a moment, pulls out a couple scrolls, kind of grumbling under his breath a little bit, and then finds one, compares it to another, and sort of overlays them slightly, matching up a couple of lines. Steps over to a small, kind of reduced height lectern and begins scribing something on a blank piece of paper.
Can I tell what he's doing? Is he making? He's making a copy. I'm assuming. We have
He,
there, or is he like?
go ahead
transmitting
and give me a
around?
perception check.
Yeah.
I'm also watching him because what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm.
12.
20.
Aurelia, as you're watching, his hand's moving very fast, and you're trying to check and see what reference he might be going from to produce whatever this thing is. It doesn't seem to be an exact copy of either of the two scrolls that he has rolled out on either on the one side. Elishard, as you're watching, he is transcribing a decoded version of something from these two charts, apparently with some sort of mental key that he is in possession of to take a encoded version of the map currently and put it in a much simpler, more plainly readable version.
Looking at
Did we had taken one? Had we taken one of the We had taken the book.
Somebody had grabbed one of the larger tomes here that seems to be sort of a master volume,
Okay.
but it is still heavily encoded.
Looking-
Whatever
yeah,
all the contents there.
looking at the 3 pages that he's working from, the one that he's writing on, the 2 that he's looking at, could I, not knowing what he knows in his brain, obviously, could I pick up any clues as to what of those other 2 things he is, like, how he's decoding the other 2 maps? Like, does it look like...
What languages do you speak?
I speak Undercommon, Common, Elvish, Dwarvish. Yeah, Elvish, Dwarvish, Undercommon, and Common.
Go ahead and give me an intelligence check. DC on this one's going to be 25.
I will not make it.
Okay.
And just random question for my
Not a clue.
not one of the ones I looked at.
Of the 2 scrolls that he has open?
Yeah. Mhm.
No, not one.
Okay.
Not neither of the ones are ones
Okay.
that you had time to parse through.
Yeah, and I don't know exactly what's going on, so I can't
Yep.
do anything there.
He dusts some sand over top of it, gives it a moment to dry, blows it off into a small bowl, taps off the scroll, holds it up, and sort of looks around at whoever happens to be in the room with him.
I'll take it.
Wimbledon will be happy to answer any questions you have and serve as your guide.
All right.
Who?
Wimbledon. I will show you where to find him. And he steps out of the library and starts heading down the opposite hallway.
As once I pass this door while following him, I'll sort of lean in and just. I think we're good to go.
I'll like show the map as
Yep.
we, yeah,
Head on over.
people know we have it.
Okay.
I'm gonna grab another book before we leave. Just one of the smaller ones. Just pocket
Just
it.
grabbing one at
Yeah, just-
random.
Yep.
Roll me a D100.
Okay.
It explodes.
Damn it. I'm trying so hard.
18. Good to know. All right. I'll make a note.
All right.
Okay. He'll step down this way, cross the room, and head for a more or less opposite door.
That doesn't work, Jack, because your color is black, and so it blends into the shade.
What color is what?
You pinged where your kobold was, but the ping is
Your-
black. And
Yeah.
Oh.
'cause
You have to go into Roll20 and click on the little color square by your name to change
I'll
the
be-
color.
Change it? Fascinating.
yeah, you can change it.
I didn't know that.
And so because we have lighting on, a black ping just can't be seen.
If you click Mara, if you click the color.
Color
Yeah,
next to your,
I see
your icon
that
there.
now.
Yep.
I
mhm.
didn't know that existed.
Yep.
Fascinating.
But he leads you into a narrow chamber. It's stacked high with crates, barrels, sacks. There's a faint mustiness that sort of pervades the interior, and there is a lone kobold in there who turns to face you and kind of hurriedly stows a half-chewed wedge of cheese on a shelf behind him, then stands up very erect and kind of clasps his little claw hands behind his back. This is Wimbledon Scraps. He is a guide, and he will help you. Wimbledon, you are to take them to where we were delivering the other things, but they are big, so you will have to find a second route. I have put it on a chart for them. Wimbledon kind of stands a little more upright, puffs out his chest, snaps it might charitably be called a salute. Some sort of gesture of acknowledgement, you expect. And nods.
So I kneel down so that I am on level with what's his face?
Wimbledon?
Or-
Wimbledon
or-
Scraps?
No, the other one.
No,
Oh,
other guy.
Fintar?
Fintar. So that it's skull mask to kobold face, like eye to eye. And I just put a hand on his shoulder, just so that this is clear and there's no misunderstanding. If this ends up being some sort of death trap that you think will kill us, it won't. I've already died before. It doesn't stick. And we will be back. And we won't be happy.
Kind of blinks, swallows, gives you a nod.
Just want to make sure we understand each other. And I'll stand back up.
Yes. Yes. The other one just sort of gapes at him a little bit. Gives him a head jerk, like, go on, follow the right, and slowly reaches out, grabs his cheese, shoves it in a pocket, and
Kobold after my own heart.
scampers with you guys out into the other room.
Yep. What was this one's name again?
Wimbledon.
Wimbledon. Thank you.
As we gain another pet.
Yep.
You ready?
We don't keep sentient pets. He's more like Rorik, an awkwardly acquired subservient.
Yeah. I've look. Diamond has yet to ingratiate him by giving him an awkward cookie of some sort. Like it's.
Give it time. I give it
Fair.
until the end
Okay,
of the day.
fair.
Well, with Rorik it was cake. with Bubbles, it was, I guess, love and affection.
Yep.
Maybe.
No, it was chair legs.
It's chair legs. That's right.
All right.
Let's head out.
So,
Heading wherever that is.
Oh yeah, we're just fucking doing it. Do
Right
we
now?
want
Well,
a rest?
yeah. First, we need to get out of the kobold
Yes.
area.
Yeah.
Yeah.
First, we need to get out of here. So
We have a guide.
Yeah.
Yes.
It will take
I don't
us.
know. This is Nikki, not Diamond. Just like we are in a compound, and we do have their like. They know we could murder them, and this is a relatively safe place if we wanted to take a long rest. But that's just Nikki.
Yeah.
That's actually not a bad idea. As Wimbledon starts to walk off, I'm gonna look over towards the Kintar again, or whatever his first name is, because I can't.
Kintar.
Fintar.
Vintar.
Vintar.
I hear an
Fintar.
Fintar.
Yeah,
Got
that's
it.
what I thought.
All right.
In
Having not seen it spelled, I cannot retain it in my brain.
Like think aquatic centaur.
Okay.
Centaur.
Fintar.
He just looks at you.
Would there perhaps be a place nearby that we could rest for a while before setting off?
I need to make a roll. Ooh, that's terrible. He scratches his chin for a minute, kind of thinks. Yes, there's a very good inn of great repute, about 30 yards outside. This is built for kobolds.
I continue to give him the looming stare that I've been giving him this whole time.
Oh, Elishard, we don't.
There's
need
still
to
a level of
impose upon
impact,
their
but it's
hospitality.
slowly starting to.
Yeah.
Apparently, he's
should
getting
be-
his chops back a little
Yep.
bit.
We should leave.
It was worth asking.
Yes.
Yeah.
we
Very
should.
well.
I look forward to doing much business in the future.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
Way back to the
Go
door.
forward.
We
Go forward.
Superiors realize what a raw deal I gave him.
we follow the kobold out.
Okay. He pauses in this doorway, reaches down, fiddles with something in the ground, and then just sort of kind of edges a little stick up underneath what looks like a pressure plate.
Yep.
Love these guys. So good. So smart.
And then starts leading you to around a little bit to the left into the very, very large chamber that you guys had sort of projected was there.
Oh, this is a much larger chamber.
And there are just a half dozen or so number of other kobolds in there who are all sort of edgy and kind of crouched between some of the uprights that support this larger roof room.
Oh god.
Asp.
Yeah.
Go
I
up
feel
and
like
to the left.
navigating has gotten complicated.
It has a bit.
Oh. Hello.
And then just sort of guides you all directly north towards the original areas where you guys had been located. Whoops, that was grab the wrong.
No, thank you.
Sorry there, Diamond. You just got
I mean, as is tradition, Diamond
forcibly
just
evacuated from
Nah, I
the
just
primary
get-
chamber.
She's used to just suddenly teleporting different places now. It's just
one of the
her life.
kobolds steps on the eject button and Diamond just goes flying.
just like spring chair out of the room.
Diamond gets yeeted out of the
Yep.
main hall.
Yes, she did.
But you guys can more or less safely now with a guide
Yep.
escort, leave the premises.
Yes.
Premises
Yes.
have been left.
Oh, look, our companions. They've been out here this entire time. Ah, I miss this map.
Right. So
So, what's your guys' plan for going forward?
Sorry.
Aside from follow our guide, get to Merc Dreamer, I assume.
Yeah.
I
The
need to
plan
get
was oh.
back to the surface. My sister is, I left her there for a few days, not this long.
Aurelia, we're going back to the surface. Give me a moment. I'm gonna try and get a sense from our guide of how long this anticipated route is going to take. Trying to think if we have enough spell slots to make everyone small. Probably not. Because I don't think that many of our spells do that. Never mind. Yeah. How long this travel back is going to take? Because if I recall correctly, it took us 3 days to get here normal ways.
Mm-hmm.
Ew, I think
So
we had
going back would be at least that long the way we came. So yeah, I'm trying to get a sense of how long it's going to take us to get to Merc Dreamer.
He kind of bites his lower lip. And holds up 2 fingers.
2 sunrises.
Hmm.
Then sort of going back over to the group and specifically to Aurelia. It's a shorter way out. We go, we accomplish what we need to in Merc Dreamer. We don't necessarily need to clear out an entire district, but disrupt up things in a definitive way. He'll be back sooner than if he took the route we took to get here.
What are we doing in Merc Dreamer? What are we're going to try and take down that other compact? We have
We're
no idea where they're
definitively cutting off their supply route so that the rest of the city's siege of them actually does anything.
Yes, but to do that, the kobolds have asked us to take out that compact because otherwise they're going to keep up this route. It's profitable. That means we have to
Indeed.
take out a compact. That's not a I don't think that's going to be a short thing unless we want to siege, just go
Sieges
straight at
are
them.
long, yes, Aurelia.
No, not siege. Go straight at them, in which case we're going to lose people because that's going head to head with another compact, which we haven't done before.
Yeah, we're gonna kill some warlocks, is it?
Aurelia,
Possibly.
we're gonna have to deal with them sooner rather than later. Because they
The
will
sooner we deal
eventually-
with them, the less likelihood it is we'll lose people. Right now, we're in a position where we may even have the advantage of surprise, where they feel secure in their position and we have been fighting and learning. The longer we wait, the more dangerous everyone in the game becomes.
Mm-hmm.
This is our
That's
best.
just how it works.
This is our best chance to take out that compact, which is part of our goal. Disrupting them, disrupting quite a lot of plans probably around the game already, because I imagine they have become a bit of a focal point for other compacts as well.
Yes.
I'll make you a deal. Once we finish with this, we will prioritize finding some long-term sustainable way your sister can be cared for when we need to do the actual business of being warlocks.
Also,
Fine.
for your comfort, potentially, they are also warlocks. So the limitations we have are the same limitations they have. It shouldn't take forever to deal with them.
That said, there is one thing that does need to be brought up. I'm assuming we will at least be resting for a night before we do this.
Well, it's
Yes,
a
I would suggest we rest now, and then we're going to rest again on the road because it's 2 suns to get there.
Right.
But we could move on now and rest twice on the road. Either way.
it's a 2-day journey, and we have a guide. I would suggest we move and then rest once we've made a little bit of travel.
That's acceptable.
Just because, A, I don't want to rest right outside the Kobold Fortress we just raided in case any of them decide to grow a spine. And B,
Unlikely, but fair.
The sooner we get there, the sooner we can get back to other concerns indicating towards Aurelia.
At this point, I will remember that Virashana is there.
Yep.
Virashana, your assistance is appreciated. I don't mean to pry into your plans or affairs necessarily, but we have the path that we are taking. Would you like to come with us? I can instruct you on the way back that we came in. Whatever would be most helpful. And giving Cora a chance to interject, because
not interjecting at the moment.
He takes a moment to pause as he considers. The passage to the undergress and the tunnels down here are perilous. I would be foolish to avoid your company on the return. You freed me from the cell, and we have recovered the relic for which we had sought. I am in your entire debt. If a bit of blood is to be shed and peril is to be shared, then I will be at your back.
Your assistance is greatly appreciated.
Besides, there are things for me to discuss with my family.
Of course.
Speaking of family, Diamond will go over to Aurelia and be like, "Do you want to send like a message to the person watching?"
Yes, I do. I can't right now.
That might make it easier. So no one's in the dark. We're in the dark, but you know what I mean.
Yes.
So let's get moving, and we'll find a good spot to rest.
Okay. Wimbledon is currently, as you guys are talking, seems to have taken his cheese and sort of wrapped it a little bit around a pebble and then tried to eat that. Doesn't seem to be working out great. And sort of spits the rock and possibly part of a tooth out.
Why?
Gargles down the rest of the cheese. Looks at both of you, looks at all of you, kind of claps his little hands together and then points in a direction and starts walking.
Right.
Following
Very well.
the kobold.
Excellent.
This is a very morbid question, but Diamond looks in the bucket with bubbles in it. How far along is that kobold head?
Oh, it's dissolved all to shit, and some of the bones as well. And now it's sort of just the upper cranium and some of the teeth that are still jammed into the upper mandible.
Has the kobold head settled on top of the human head, so it's wearing?
No,
one
it's
like
sort of like slowly making a circuit around kind of the lower regions.
They're orbiting each other.
No, the human skull is very much in the top, and then you've got this weird kind of other half of skull doing little circles underneath it, about 8-10 inches lower in the physiology of the oozling.
Well,
Mhm.
he'll figure it out.
He's not eating the bone anymore, right? He can't dissolve bone, right?
He can dissolve some bone. He just hasn't dissolved the rest of this skull.
Just concerned. I don't want my sweet baby to become a kobold.
Oh, there's 0 chance of him turning into a kobold.
Yeah, I just
Hey,
turn around. I'm just
you're
like, hey, kobolds.
Oh boy.
I mean, naturally from consuming but yes.
No, yeah.
No, true polymorph, there's 100% chance he could become a kobold.
Please don't turn my
utilizing
baby
something
into
like
a
that.
kobold.
Oh, I only
I see.
polymorph bubbles when Diamond wants me to polymorph.
Polymorph bubbles into a black pudding. So it just upgrades from ooze to pudding.
I don't want that evolution. No, thank you. Anyway.
You have to give the cute Pokemon an Everstone because the evolutions are always boring and awful.
Yeah.
I can tell you 100% there is no such thing as Pokemon in Conflux.
Not yet. Just you wait. We're moving forward.
My new character's wish is to invent Pokemon.
Guys, I have a new name for our compact.
What?
The sidetrack.
On. That way we can objectively say there are Pokemon in Conflux.
Love it.
Do not test me on this one.
We do have several pocket monsters in the party though. So
Okay, I got backup
Yeah.
characters.
so do I.
Oh no, it's just you wake up the next morning and none of you can remember what your compact was named.
Everyone is Pokemon or everyone is Pokemon trainers, by the way, would be really fun.
That would be kind of a hilarious campaign.
There's a Pokemon
concept
trainers
for-
thing. I should see if I can do a one-shot in it.
Dope. Anyway, you guys are following a kobold though.
Mm-hmm.
Vershana just sort of grabs onto somebody as you guys get away from the slightly lit exterior of the fortress.
Dancing lights, if it seems like that's what it is.
That is exactly what it seems like it is.
Cool. I'll use dancing lights because it's more diffuse than a lot of other light spells, and it's the racial ability.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Sounds good. All right. How many hours do you follow Wimbledon before deciding that you need to stop?
I'm looking for a place that looks like we can stop, like some sort of
A
natural
good
alcove or
camp.
something.
Yeah,
where people
site.
can
Make me a survival check. Anybody
Can I?
who's trying
Yep.
to.
I would like to.
Sure. This'll be funny.
Hey, I'm terrible. Distracted.
20.
Nice.
I did not have advantage, but it doesn't matter.
After being so shitty for the past several episodes, Elishard gets to suddenly be competent now.
Yep. Yep. Couple hours into travel, there's a number of small pocket chambers you guys seem to be passing by periodically. They seem to be primarily naturally occurring, but you can see some level of alteration to them. And it's also fairly easy to pick out because as you start looking around, Wimbledon seems to notice, and he starts just occasionally indicating them right, left, as you guys are wandering down, just casually pointing at them as you guys continue to walk.
After a little while, I'll take the initiative and sort of grab Wimbledon by the shoulder to halt him and the rest of the party.
No.
This is probably a good spot to rest for a little while.
Ah! He scampers over to one side and sort of starts kicking some rocks together into the rough approximation of a fire ring.
Right.
I love him so much. I'm not gonna make it through this game, guys. I'm just gonna die.
Finishes, and then slams himself to a halt suddenly, grabs one of them, pulls it out,
I'm just
throws it to the side,
I'm
and
just-
picks out a different
I'm
rock
just
to fill
gonna
that
pull
spot.
out some rations and hand them to him so he'll stop eating the rocks.
And then he holds out his hand, his
So
empty
that-
hand.
Yep.
Oh, God.
So
Elishard gets the pet.
I mean, I don't have to eat anymore, so he can just have my share. Anyways,
Do you give him more?
not yet.
Okay.
I only have so many, and I don't know how many I'm carrying for other people yet.
Shrugs, goes over, sits down, leans back against, and just this long, gurgly series of snores starts to burble through his nose as he sits there, mouth draped open, a little bit of drool.
Right. Right. Well, we need completely ignoring that.
Yeah.
We need to set up watches.
I'll take the first watch.
I can take
Uh,
this job.
Mm.
This is payback.
Anyway, you guys get the idea.
Yep.
It only lasts 10 minutes. I wouldn't do it.
The ambient cacophony ensues.
Yep.
Learning
That-
to sleep in hostile conditions is an important skill.
Diamond looks at the bubbles, looks at the kobold. No. No, she wouldn't do that. Or
Not
would she?
now. We still need him.
No. Diamond's not gonna do that. Again, it's just goofy. Diamond's gonna go to sleep.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, so I can take whichever watch I'm needed on.
I don't think we need more than one person on a watch at a time. I'll wake somebody up when I'm tired.
Yep.
Rob-
I'll take third watch probably then.
I will leave Jinx out to watch with everybody. Just
Okay.
I would leave Shithal, but I don't think that will be comforting for anyone.
No.
No. We got Bubble just rolls him out of the barrel like he could keep watching.
So I say
Now I'm imagining everybody goes to sleep and we just leave the familiars and Bubbles to do watch.
so
Bad idea.
I say out loud in character that I will wake somebody up when I'm tired. But because I now have undying nature, I no longer require food, water, or sleep. So it just like never occurs to him to wake up anybody for second watch.
All right. So you begin to watch. Everybody else more or less drifts off after a period of time. Make a wisdom save, Elishard.
Sweet. Natural one.
Oh
Perfect.
no!
I love it when the dice let me tell my stories.
what happened
Okay.
to competent Elishard?
It ended
Gone.
right
There's
there.
a brief flicker, and now it's gone.
So you don't need sleep, Elishard. But after an hour or two, the monotony, your head drifts down a little bit, and you fight it off for a little while, just kind of blink. But for whatever reason, you don't really mentally register the sleep creeping up on you. And you drift off for just a moment. You sleep and you dream. You're standing and floating next to you on your left is a hooded cloak, empty of any inhabitant, a patchwork harlequin thing, easily recognizable as the Mist's Embrace. Zoe, you too are sleeping, and you dream. And to your right, hovers a skeletal mask. No body attached, but it's the visage sepulchral. You recognize it as something you've seen somebody wearing on the regular for the last little while.
Yep.
The pair of you, your surroundings seem to be a strangely oriented street. Its lateral surface is canted at an unusually sharp angle, although the buildings themselves lining the edge appear to be properly vertical. After a moment, a stout figure comes dashing swiftly down the avenue, balanced perpendicularly somehow on the roadway without any seeming obstacle to the weird inversion of proper rules of physics. She dives off to one side behind a pile of debris, still well within your viewpoint from your sort of hovering perspective. She's clutching a bundle close to her chest as a pair of men round the same corner in pursuit, turning their hooded lanterns this way and that.
What
and
does
then you
she
see
look
the
like?
female dwarf, kind of dirty blondish hair. There's a mask
familiar at all?
pulled up, kind of covering the lower half of her face. And you see her tap her chest once as the beams of light cross over her hiding spot. Somehow the pursuers overlook the partially lit fugitive as she kind of thumbs her nose, and you can see the sides of the mask kind of crease upward a little bit. She's apparently grinning under there. Despite the fact that they should have seen her, they apparently ignore wherever she's concealed and wander off, cursing softly. At which point the scene vanishes, replaced by a wide stretch of muddy water and plant growth. A labyrinthine network of channels weaves among a number of small, overgrown islands, and the landscape slowly skims by as your perspective sort of drifts forward. The flora begins to get denser and more rugged, twisting snares of vine and swarms of razor-sharp thorns, evident thorns having almost reddened edges like they come pre-stained with blood. Occasionally, the plants shift slightly despite the stagnant, breezeless air. Creatures occasionally sometimes slither and creep through the thick growth with a hiss or a growl. Every once in a while, a coil of something wet and dark rises from the slow-flowing water. And then as you continue to drift forward, the plants clear abruptly into a small glade where an ancient moss-covered cairn has collapsed over time, but jutting up from in between two of the rocks is a narrow object bearing a lily's bloom at one end. It's probably about 2 feet long or so. Hard to tell whether it's an actual natural blossom or just a very, very well-crafted facsimile of a flower. And then Elishard, your eyes blink open suddenly as your head jerks up. And Wimbledon is kind of crouched on his hands and knees in front of you, just staring directly into the eye sockets of your skull mask.
Oh, did I hit the ground? Did I fall over or something?
No, you didn't fall. You just kind of jerked. Best you can tell, you would guesstimate maybe
I'm sitting
2
down.
3 minutes have passed.
I'm sitting down. Got it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I sort of stare back. You want something?
The finger was sort of reaching out to poke, and it jerks back.
Hey, I pulled a Mandalorian.
Yeah. Yeah.
Everyone, please stop talking about the show I can't watch yet.
Sorry.
And then he walks off. You see him slither down, curl up, kind of. Pulls off one of his socks and just sort of chews on it.
I pull out a journal from my bag and just really quickly write down the thing that I saw, the dream.
Okay.
And notate it as the amulet. I sort of like notate the image of the person who hid from the guards as the amulet, because from the information we have, that seems to match with the thief in Trick Towns. And then the other one just a lily ? I think it was just 2 that I saw, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
and I will spend the rest of the night, or at least the long rest, thinking about the fact that apparently these relics are connected in a much more direct fashion than previously assumed.
All right. Long rest transpires. And once again, you guys awaken refreshed for a given value of refreshed in the Underdark.
I have hit dice again. It's great.
Yeah.
Oh, sure. You didn't wake anyone up.
You get half your expended hit dice back,
Yep.
right? Long rest.
Yep.
So
I'll sort of look over from where I'm leaning against the wall. Never got tired.
Okay, this is a dumb D&D 101 question, but I've literally never actually gone below half of my hit dice before.
Yeah.
Half of what you spent or half of your total?
half of what you spent. So if you spent, if you spent 4 hit dice, you get 2 of them back.
If that's how your house ruling it, fine, but it's half your total, Jack.
Oh, is it half your total?
It's half your total.
Half your total hit
I've
dice.
Literally never not had half of my hit dice in reserve.
Yeah, usually we have healers
because if it was half what you spent, you would never get back to full.
Yeah, it'd be this. You'd have this.
Oh yeah, math.
Exponential curve. Anyway, I cast Sending.
Okay.
To Harold. There we go. Found the name eventually. Our current compact business will be going longer than expected. I can pay you back. Please let your bar owner friend know about the extension.
I like the idea that there's a very confused man in London now going, Doris, that's you.
That's not my fault. I had this character bio written way before that.
I mean, that might still happen. It's just not as a direct result of what it really is doing.
John hurriedly jots down information so that it can just randomly pop up in Craig's character's brain next session. There's a pause and then the response comes back. Very well. Extension for how long?
Cast it again. We had it said like 2 days, right, for the thing.
Mara, just so that you're having your math right, you had already given like basically a week because it was
I had done 3
days for us to get to the kobolds.
Yeah, I had done 3 days. That's why.
So you literally only did transit time there.
Yes.
Okay,
I did not.
Cool.
I didn't know how long it would take to get this far. We didn't know.
I was gonna say, I think Aurelia had not been informed, and so just kind of guesstimated that it would be 3 days. Yeah.
I remember more than that. I guess my memory's fucked. It doesn't matter.
I'm gonna assume we've got. Yeah, I'm gonna give 3 days more. 3 days more. Thank you.
I'll let her know.
All right.
And there's this sort of weird kind of bemused tone to, all right then. Brain talking, sure, why not?
Maybe remembering somebody else being told would be gone for a week.
It may have been.
I think that was
like something earlier.
That was.
That might have been something earlier.
Yeah. Maybe it was. It might have been
I've
like
left her with
Diamond's
various
parents
friends
or
and
something.
relatives, so.
Diamond doesn't tell her parents anything anymore. Such a teenager.
This is a recurring event, so much so that I've blended them together.
Yep. Anyway. All right. Ready.
Okay. You guys begin walking. The way is very twisted, but Wimbledon keeps up a pretty steady pace. His legs are shorter, so you guys don't really have to hurry to keep up per se, but he's just trucking right along. hours pass. There's occasional breaks taken for food and that sort of thing.
Sorry, because that was me having a brain fart because I was thinking about different things. As we start walking, I will tell the group about the dream.
The same one you had, Zoe.
You as well.
It seems that these artifacts might be more connected than we thought.
I mean, that does stand to reason. They were forged from a person's soul or something.
Yes.
And it seems to be... my interpretation is that ours are resonating and showing us others.
Yes,
Because-
the lily is
a
a
history
wand.
check with advantage, Zoe.
Thank you.
So I imagine I imagine the dwarf that we saw is the thief that has the amulet. I don't know.
I'm
where
gonna
that
take the
amulet
fucking
is.
history feat. 11.
With an 11, as those words leave your mouth, you remember vaguely some weird using souls to build or create something, some far-flung, long-forgotten child's folklore tale from one of your vague, very early young memories. It rings slightly familiar. It's like tasting something that you haven't eaten in a decade and sort of remembering back that doesn't.
I know more of this. Fuck did Anya's accent come from?
Yesterday.
Yes, I'm just wishing for every other character I have's perfect memory feat that I tend to take, so I don't have to deal with this. I'm certain I know more about this, but
you don't think it had anything to do with these particular objects, but it's just like some sort of thematic narrative using souls somehow, magic, something.
soul-based arts, something about it.
Soul arts.
Well, since the Drow Kingdoms are under my control, I can ask my peers. I say that only if the kobold is too far away to be hearing us. Otherwise, that is left unsaid.
How much interaction do you think that Zoe has had with dogs up until this point?
I mean, dog is on my character sheet as one of the things I can transform into. I've transformed Bubbles into a dog a few times, I think.
Okay. You don't think Wimbledon is paying particular attention to you.
Okay.
He's at a current crossroads and he seems to have gone on point.
Yeah. I mean,
he's frozen suddenly, but his eyes are wide and his nostrils are distended to a hitherto unseen degree.
I'm looking in the direction that he is looking.
What do you see, boy?
And he just takes off at a run down a side passage.
Fuck, running after.
Yeah, gotta go. Let's go.
Can't lose our guide.
Yeah.
All right. I need everybody to make a wisdom save at disadvantage.
Oh boy.
I'm so good at those.
I
Oh man.
Well,
real
so
quick.
there is an important question here.
Mm-hmm.
This.
No.
Okay.
Fey ancestry would not apply here.
okay.
It is not a charm effect.
Not a charm effect.
I will use my my reaction
Okay.
to cancel your disadvantage with advantage.
Okay.
Nice.
I can use it after I roll, so hold on.
Right. So you're just making the roll and then deciding whether or not. Yep.
Yeah, I'm rolling. I'm using that. I'm glad I used that.
25. All right.
I got a 12.
I got a rock.
Sounds good. You guys follow Wimbledon down this passageway to find him standing in front of what to all appearances seems to be a classic version of a Conflux food truck.
Of course, I knew it was the fuck. Yeah.
What the fuck is this? I just say out loud.
Actually, you don't, because
Ah.
as far as you're concerned, Elishard, oh no, that makes sense. You're traveling. Sometimes there's food vendors.
Why is there a food vendor here?
I mean, I'm not hungry, so I guess I don't
All of
care.
you kind of look at Cora like, why wouldn't there be a food vendor here?
It's obviously a convenient location, Cora.
Lots of revenue to be had.
Food vendors tend to be in places where you're traveling, so that's why it's
Can't
there.
imagine we're the only people that come through here. I mean, if the kobolds use this alone.
Welcome. I'm so glad you all finally stopped
Cool.
by. I've been cooking for quite a few hours now. Diamond,
Oh my
the Marquis, is standing there
Of course he
in
is.
kind of a. He's kind of got that apron that you remember from when he served dinner to you and your dad that one time.
This is the same apron he wore to bake cookies.
Yes.
He has a favorite apron.
Mhm.
I mean, yeah.
I wish.
Anyone hungry? Can I
you.
interest anyone? I'm the chef.
Of
What do you have?
This soup, actually, right now. But I'm rather talented at a number of things. If you're not interested, I absolutely understand. But I felt like this was probably a decent enough time to visit for a moment.
Diamond's more like, oh, you guys can see you can see him right now.
Yeah.
Normally he's like not visible.
How much?
Who is
I'm
this?
sorry, what?
Who is this, Diamond?
Oh, this is my patron.
Pleasure to make
Oh,
all of your acquaintance. Yes, I'm the Marquis.
right.
And he runs a food truck. This definitely makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Mhm.
Diamond, you recognize who we're talking to. Cora, you are the only one to whom this seems a weird, but then patrons.
Right. That
Mhm.
actually helped.
I have no way to be like
Why are you here though? Like, why?
food truck. duh.
No, like food truck, but I mean, like,
Yeah, no,
Talking
I
to
mean,
us.
food truck, yeah. And,
No,
Where-
why
where
are
the
you
bowls?
really here?
well, I heard about your plans the previous evening that you'd sort of settled on, and I wanted to check in and make sure everyone was in top shape for this apparent confrontation that you have planned, yes?
I mean, we just got a long rest.
What's that?
We
Sleep.
slept.
a night's sleep.
We sleep.
Oh, right, yes. No, that is sort of a thing, isn't it? Well, yes.
Well, they slept.
Excellent. Preparing, being rested, good plans. Pleasure to hear that everyone's so gung-ho for the whole encounter.
Careful with your accent there. Don't
What?
slip into folder right there.
Who? Oh, yes, that lad.
No, Nikki's telling that to
Right.
Jack.
Oh.
Diamond wouldn't say that. No.
I mean, that's telling that Jack thought it was all in character and just went with it. I'm just gonna say.
Oh no, great. Diamond would not get that
I
sassy.
think this is already ready, though. Large bowl, small bowl. Wimbledon just goes, and makes the biggest gesture he possibly can.
No.
Yes, I like your attitude.
Cora, don't be rude.
Yeah, large bowl, please.
Yes.
Right?
Sure, I'm
Not
hungry.
Some sort
rude to
of
have a
tomato-
diet.
tomato-based
yeah.
sort of with plenty of meat in, spicy sort of stew.
Oh, dang.
I'm not
Oh,
hungry.
that's not. It's not a dietary thing.
Hmm? Do tell me, Cora, what is the problem?
Respectfully, I'm sure you are well invested in the survival and success of one of our number.
Hmm.
I'm sure as long as that one is successful and survives, you literally couldn't care less what happens to the rest of us.
Well, I'll take your position for just a moment. Yes, I can see how that would certainly be a reasonable conclusion to arrive at, but isn't the collective success of your compact somewhat directly tied to the ultimate success of my personal investment,
Conceivably,
as you say?
that is entirely possible.
Hmm.
I am also not entirely beyond. I have no ill will. I do have nothing against you in particular. I am just, if you will excuse me, not. I don't put a lot of faith in patrons as of.
Well, of course, given your
Um,
personal approach to the game, that definitely
Indeed.
seems to be one's perspective there. And I absolutely, I mean, can I cheat for a moment, Koroshana?
I'm sure you can.
You
whether
have
you-
been the talk of the game. No one's done what you've done in, goodness, I'd say about at least 100 cycles. It's
That's unfortunate.
fascinating.
I would
Really?
rather not
Something-
be the talk, but fine.
Well, the fact that you don't want to be the talk sort of contributes to the fact that you are the talk, if you understand the sort of.
I understand the paradox.
Right, yes, paradox. Paradox. Excellent choice of words. Delightful, yes.
What's the other scuttlebutt?
Well, there's honestly the fact that the murder cadre of local politics has jumped to the front at this point. Everybody's really sort of scrambling to figure out how to compensate for that little change. But you know, the ones with the handbills and the posters at the dance.
They're compact, you said?
They're for compact. No, they are what you would call a environmental hazard, as it were.
Yes. Rather unfortunate environmental hazard.
Yes, everyone's been pushing for a surprisingly cautious kind of interaction. No one seems to want to thrust themselves into the fray, really, with that group in case they lose. You see.
Oh yes, that makes sense.
Mhm.
So what's your strategy?
My strategy currently is to wait and watch on that. I'm going to be attempting to make sure that everybody has. Well, I don't want to burn too much of my stake yet. There's only a level of overt investment that we're able to take. This being one of my initial sort of forays into spending some of my back stake in the sort of things that I've set aside and to attempt to ensure the better outcomes. As it
Question:
were. Yes, Cora.
How many patrons have multiple people in the game?
Well, currently we're allowed one apiece. Actually, there's very few of us that had the resources to maintain any sort of spending that might allow for repeat options. Obviously, the rules are only one at a time. Some of us manage
Yeah, I was
to
gonna say.
invest, but a couple people rumored have the option that should their individual warlock fall, to take a breather and then bring someone back at a later date.
Do you?
He smiles widely.
There's just like a half inch that Zoe moves
Oh, that
protectively between Diamond and Cora.
Telling. And I
It
don't
would be telling.
I don't choose to do so at this time, but I love the cheek.
Girl.
This is how Cora dies.
At this point, everyone is at least holding a bowl of soup.
I've
Whether or not
started
you
eating.
whether or not you asked for one or choose to eat it is entirely up to you, but everyone, Cora included, has a bowl.
Zoe really is
They
not
set it down.
someone
I
who
also set
normally
mine down.
eats like much of anything, but patrons, and I'm conscious of like the implication that this is a patron directly intervening for at least Diamond's benefit, right? Or is
Vaguely.
that just okay?
I mean, you don't have the sort of it. It is surprisingly, for Aaron's sake, as a player,
Thank
meta
you.
Zoe doesn't really care
Okay.
particularly. It doesn't feel weird to Zoe at this time.
All right. I don't
mean,
care,
as-
and it
yeah.
doesn't feel weird.
Yeah.
But I am like, oh, this is Diamond's patron.
Yeah, that's sort of registered, but not in
Okay.
but right.
Just sort of leans over to Diamond.
In the same, yeah, you've met Diamond's patron in the same way that you've met Diamond's parents. That's a thing that happens.
Yes, that is exactly sort
Don't
of
piss off your partner's boss.
boss, who I believe Diamond has referred to as another dad at one point.
No, I don't think she
So
did.
not allowed.
not Marquis. No.
Diamond already has 2 dads. Doesn't need a third.
Several
There's room
dads
for
and several
more dads.
pets.
That's what the dad dating game is for.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. So Diamond. Oh God. Yeah, I don't know. Sorry.
Diamond's eating her soup. She's just like, he's just trying to give us a leg up. He believes in us, I guess. Or we're about to go face something like super duper bad. So,
Or-
I think
yeah.
it's that second one.
Or we're being really, really stupid.
Elishard's not eating just because he's not hungry. He doesn't
Or
actually care.
we
It's-
are,
oh,
or
crap.
we are participating in something that will ensure, in the case of our deaths, our power get transferred to you. One of those, probably.
I don't want you guys to die.
I understand that.
So I'm not going to let that happen.
I don't think it. I think that would require a thing
is-
coming out of me and going into you. So I don't know if that's possible in my case. but-
I'm good, thank you. I already have a boyfriend and a girlfriend. I'm
Yeah.
good, thank you. Did Rorik get a bowl of soup?
Oh, Rorik's mowing down on his, yeah.
Did the other Kalashtar,
Virshana? Yeah, no.
Virshana.
Literally, everyone
I
has-
care.
There is a small bowl of soup balancing on top of bubbles right now.
Woo!
Everyone has one. Shathal has one.
Shathal gets his bowl taken away.
Aw.
Honestly, that is what seems to there's a little
Is
bit
that
of
the
cooling
breaking
of the
point?
vibe.
Has that ruined our the relationship between me and my familiar at last?
No, not between you and your familiar. The Marquis just sort of looks at you. Cora, I understand, but # disappointed.
Oh my lord.
What's
I don't
a
understand what a
Yeah.
hashtag is.
Yeah, Diamond's
but
like, I don't understand.
I
this.
understand disappointment, and I'm used to it.
So do you have suggestions since you came all this way down
Oh, seasons, so many suggestions. Yes, I'm not going to give any,
here? Okay.
but you would not believe how many I have.
So secretive.
Any
Diamond
idea?
slurping at her soup. Just like,
You've just noticed, dear.
no.
Really? Now? The sarcasm is palpable.
Oh yeah. You're meeting my friends finally for the first time, and you're just gonna hand a soup and
You
nod?
know that is an abject lie. I've met, I think, all of them at least once before now.
They're aware of.
No, they're
Hmm.
not. I mean, except for, but.
Yeah, I wonder why trust is an issue.
Trust is an issue because nobody trusts anybody, Cora, and we can't.
I trust
Exactly. I'm glad
everybody.
we understand.
I don't. I'm
I
still.
say
I'm still
this
debating about Wimbledon
with-
though.
All the little sincerity that I'm sure it sounds like. I'm very glad you understand that.
So is this the part where the two of you start clawing each other's eyes out, or can we
I
move
think
past
so.
this
I
part?
give
No.
a big slurp. Just watching.
Suddenly, Elishard, you're blind and you can't see anything.
I'm sure you think this is bad, but this is my regular.
He's going through a lot right now.
Oh, I did have a question. That's right.
Yes.
Is it true Elishard's not really part of this game?
Mm. In what way?
I don't know. That's just what he said when he came to join up with us, that he'd gotten his powers at a different point and probably wasn't part of the game properly.
I mean, properly, he's not, as one might put it, I'd say, part of the game on the normal standing. You could certainly, one could make that argument.
Hmm.
On the other hand, of course he's part of the game. I mean, oh,
Zoe's just
what if he's, oh, what if he's not?
I'm sure the gesticulation. is
trying
amusing.
to not look annoyed.
You have your
because
eyesight
this
net back
is
now, by the way. That was
Okay.
it.
Diamond's patron.
Now you know why Nikki always gets little like, oh, this fucker again. I love him very much. He is the worst.
It's just like blind Elishard, who regularly goes blind in order to use his abilities. It's like, okay.
So if
Yeah.
you're not here to give suggestions,
He brought soup.
the soup.
Yeah, is this beef? It's really good.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Awesome.
Man,
Goes back
I
to
don't
scarfing.
I don't know. A Diamond made this roll already. She doesn't know what happens when you accept food from a fae. She just assumes he's being nice. Yeah.
By the way, Aurelia, wasn't it? Yes? Hmm?
Thank you for
Yes.
remembering their names.
Good. There was something I needed from you. I can't remember. Damn it!
There
A
was
bomb.
what?
She's really good at making bombs.
She is really
No,
good at
she
making
is
bombs.
not.
I said
She's
making,
not good at setting them off.
making bombs, not implementing them. That's a difference.
It's an important part of the process. It's an art form. It's an ancient and classical art form that she just throws metal into and throws at bridges.
It worked.
No, it did not.
Actively didn't work.
No, not for the intended purpose, but it worked.
Suddenly, Aurelia, there is an arm kind of draped commiseratingly around your shoulders.
Okay.
I'm going to have to side with your compact mates on this one, Aurelia.
Thank you. Please remove your arm
To
from
be
me.
fair. But, oh God, all right. And he does. And he sulks.
Yep.
He's very upset that Hedon's not around anymore.
Oh.
You've got like a little splatter of soup that was apparently on his that he
Yeah.
right,
Yep.
but
I
yeah,
prestidigitate that off.
he prestidigitates it back.
So you're not here to
Really?
give hints. You're not here to interfere much. This is a social call.
All calls are
Wanted to clarify.
yes. I mean, okay, sort of. I mean, yes. From a mechanical perspective, there is an advantage that you're going. Gosh, why do you have to make everything so mundane, Elishad?
Do you talk to do the patrons talk to each other?
What do you think we talk? I mean, yeah.
I don't know.
Well, of course you don't know.
Talking about Cora, didn't you hear?
I meant
Really,
like, as part of a
your-
compact.
Aurelia, do you want to know things about your patron?
Yes.
Was it worth it? Yeah.
Straight up patron.
Because I could tell you so many things.
Oh, okay. Like
I love
what?
this shit.
Because all you're giving me right now is, ooh, look at this. It's very exciting and shiny. And I have heard a lot of rumors in my days. And some of them are crap. Or some of them are something that you might
You
think
have?
is hilarious.
Oh
Yes.
God, what have you heard? And suddenly he is rapt,
Oh boy.
just thrilled.
Well, there was a rumor going on about me and what was his name? What was their name?
You and Diamond?
No.
I started that one.
Thank you.
And that's
Jenner,
why
that
Zoe's
we
my.
were-
Oh
We
God.
were forming a necromantic cult at one point because we stole a skull from the biology department. Anyway,
Okay. Yes, but what else have you heard? Because I want good rumors.
I have to make something up. Hang on.
Why don't you tell him all about how much you know about Underdark people and how you've studied our ways of life?
That wasn't a rumor. That's a fact.
Boofa doofa.
But also a rumor at the same time, you know.
Hmm.
I don't know. As a future queen, I think it's slanderous rumor.
He sort of chuckles, Zoe, and then kind of looks at you, and aren't those the best kind of rumors, even from a queenly standpoint?
Oh, absolutely. They're delightful.
Okay, good, because it
But
almost
rumors
sounded
aren't any fun when people just accept them as fact. They're not as catchy that way.
See, this one gets it.
You know mine's name.
Yes, but I wait. But I'm not allowed to tell you.
Why?
And that actually, Cora, genuinely seems to perplex him.
You don't know why.
I mean, besides the all the normal reasons, no, actually, I don't.
Well, he's so sad.
It's probably got something to do with the innate nature of all the things, and the fact that the DM doesn't want me to tell you.
The
I'm
what?
Who's
sorry.
the DM?
The what?
What did I say? And seems to sort of have forgotten about it.
Wow, this got fourth wally. This got Deadpool-y
Yeah.
really quick.
Do your patrons not do this for you guys? Just pop up whenever they feel like it? And-
No.
It's
Oh.
probably best that my patron does not pop up.
I'm still not 100% on that it's a patron, but it doesn't talk, no.
Showed up a few times.
Yet,
Has.
Elishard. Yet.
Yes, yet.
I do like the whole thing you've got going on.
Which part?
I mean, kind of the bit that there's a bit of a side pool going on here, and for lack of a better term, money is that the two of you are going to have a terribly tragic romantic relationship.
Me and my...
Yes.
And you can see,
Don't.
even through the mask, you can see the confusion.
Do you know how hard it is to stay in character through this conversation?
Like, just with the eyes, because it's that flat skull mask, you can see the confusion.
But claps his hands. Everyone happy?
Sure.
1.
Yeah.
2.
Define happy?
I'm slightly confused but full of soup, so sure.
3.
Not unhappy.
Agnes here,
Answer
isn't
the
she?
damn question.
That was an answer.
Answer the damn question the way I want you to.
Ooh, so sassy right now.
Yes,
I
Diamond's
will.
here.
I
4.
will lie and say I'm happy then.
I love you.
Oh my god.
5.
I'll wait to see if Wotan says yes.
I already did, so
No, Wotan, not Zoe.
oh.
Wotan kind of shrugs. 5.5.
I'll let mine be the other half of that then.
6. All right, fine. I'm done counting. And you guys suddenly seem like you're just, yeah. And that everybody's just seated on the ground. And he's gone, and
Is there still
get-
soup
you get
on my
the idea.
shoulder?
absolutely, of course there is.
I prestidigitate it off.
No, you don't.
Oh my god.
But then, no, yeah, you do. Sorry. And it's gone.
Okay.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Yep.
And as far as everybody except Korishan is concerned, nothing weird just happened.
We're still
Yep.
aware of the event that happened. It just doesn't feel
Yeah.
weird.
Yeah.
Oh god, no, of course not. And Diamond is like, yeah, no, my patron does this all the time. It's This is
I
par
feel
for the
like
course at this
Diamond could
point.
have succeeded that save and it still would have been completely normal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
More or
I mean,
less.
yeah. Mhm.
Diamond has accepted
We
this.
should probably keep going.
Look over.
Yes.
Look over at our guide. Ready to get back?
Is he in a soup coma?
Did we lose time? I'm concerned about that.
No, you're not.
I
Specifically think that we just had a normal diversion.
okay. Does it? Okay.
Like the kind that this party constantly has.
I'm going to go step because we stepped in sort of aside. I'm going to step up. Are we at the same spot that we were?
No. You guys are further along. And I mean, obviously, Corey, you're sort of the only one that noted that, but you're pretty sure. Yeah. No, you're definitely, but geographically speaking, you are not at the same spot that you were.
I will rouse the kobold from their soup coma. Pat him on the back.
Oh, good. He vomits on your shoes.
You kind of asked for that one.
Or wipe them off on the kobold.
Oh wow.
Kobold kind of dips a finger in and
No,
Oh,
no,
no.
no.
I pressed to digitate that shit away before
Wow.
he gets there. 'Cause
No.
that's gross.
I don't have prestidigitate, so I can't.
Nikki's drawing the line here. No, none of that, sir. Hard no.
Cole understands hungry, but nobody's that hungry.
right.
Not here. Here, have another
Yeah.
ration.
Right.
Oh.
All right. Can we continue on now?
Yes, we can
Yeah,
move
absolutely.
on now.
We have changed locations.
Oh.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's probably because we walked and talked with the Marquis.
We didn't walk. We just talked.
No, there was some walking. Right? There's walking. We walked. You know,
We
sometimes
walked to him and then we walked away.
I don't see how this is a problem.
Of course you don't.
It benefits our goals. And some of us greatly benefit from having patrons that don't hate us and constantly try and kill us.
That is true.
He fed us soup.
No ice monsters here.
It is definitely not as weird as Aurelia not being part octopus anymore because patron.
That is weird too.
No, that's weird. This isn't. But
Of course you don't think so.
This is great.
Are we done with this bit?
No, we're
Can
walking
we-
and talking like we always do.
yes, we are
No,
walking.
Yes,
and talking.
we are walking and talking. That hasn't changed my question of are we done with this bit?
Nope.
Elshard says to Zoe and Cora.
I mean, I don't know what further we could gain from it, so sure. I guess.
I agree.
Like we got the benefit.
There is no further benefit.
I mean, except from the fact that mechanically you guys are under the effect of a hero's feast.
Woo!
Nice.
Including the two of us that didn't eat.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Wait, is that a yes we are or no we're not?
Yeah,
Oh, yes,
no,
we are.
yes.
Did
you
we
are.
get food
Okay.
transported directly into our stomachs from the Marquis?
Shh, just let it happen.
What does the hero's feast do again?
2d10
Okay.
hit points, advantage on
Uh,
wisdom saves.
Copy, paste. I also grabbed the casting time. Ignore that part.
Yeah.
Cured of all diseases and poison, become immune to poison and being frightened, make all wisdom saving throws with advantage, and your hit point maximum increases, but your hit point maximum increases by 2d10. For 24 hours.
Oh.
Not temporary hit points, your hit point maximum.
Yep.
16.
That's annoying to
Nice.
figure. I'm still putting it in temporary.
Yeah,
hit
like
points.
Yeah.
you still track them in temporary hit points, but understand
Yes.
that they're not temporary hit points.
They're not temporary hit
You
points.
can get them back.
Yeah.
Yeah,
3 because fucking dice just don't want Zoe to live.
Which means that my current hit point total
I only got a 5.
is 99 for normal Elishar.
And that is where we're going to take a brief break.
Cool.
All right.
Oh, there we go. I can do that. All right, yeah. Well, I can just please enjoy these commercial breaks. We're back,
And
Welcome
in
back.
Dragon Con.
which is a convention of dragons that does exist in Grand Terra, by the way. There is a Dragon
Excellent.
Con.
I want to go.
Let's go.
Okay,
I
it
want to
needs
be
to
there.
be dragons that dress up as people because that's what Dragon Con is kind of famous for.
Yeah,
Okay.
dragons
Yes,
that dress
yes.
up as
You'll
people.
have
Anyway.
to. You'll,
Cosplay.
Sorry, I've
dragon.
derailed everything.
you'll have to
No,
find
I did- I
out in
started
Grand
it.
Terra.
Look at me, I'm a nobleman.
I make barrels.
I just love the idea of a black dragon like cosplaying as a blacksmith.
Right.
It's like, pff, obviously.
Oh my
What?
god.
What? You can't do this?
all the metal just dissolves. In
Just
the acid.
dissolves in the acid.
We didn't want to derail this, but now we have.
Anyway, so you guys are back in the Underdark as Wimbledon is just flailing around trying to get his bearings back as he has suddenly been dropped into a part of a cave that he did not walk to. And object permanence for him is kind of a thing that he works very hard at.
Oh.
And when he loses it, he's worried he's going to get in trouble. So he's just sort of
Can I help with that? I have keen mind, which means I know where north is and I can keep track of time. So if I extrapolate out how far we were walking, I can maybe make a guess on our map.
You also,
don't know.
you also
We'll
have a
try it.
map, which might
Yeah.
help.
Yeah.
Yep.
Having a map is half the battle here.
Yep. Based on where you had been, and based on the amount of time that you perceive has passed,
Yep.
there is nothing within that distance that you would have been walking on the map to show that, if you have traveled, you have either lost an amount of time or traveled faster than you would have thought possible.
Okay.
But either way, it makes it impossible by dead reckoning to determine where you're actually at on the map. Give me a survival check with advantage, though, because you do have a map and you can try and identify by landmarks around you if anything is.
I will assist Aurelia in this.
Okay.
18.
18. Okay. You can make the survival check as well for Zoe
Oh, okay.
if you want. Because, Aurelia already had advantage because of the map. So
Yep.
Fair. So just a normal check for me or an advantage?
you can be consulting the map as well. So advantage for
Awesome.
you also.
24.
Nice.
Between the two of you, you are able to do some calculations based on rock strata, formations, referencing the map, and you are able to determine that you guys are about an hour's walk from the surface.
Huh.
Oh,
Huh.
We're about an hour out.
we're close.
Wild.
So, significant amount of the journey has been cut short, apparently due to the Marquis's marvelous maneuvering soup.
Marquis marvelous maneuvering. No, there's nothing.
Minestrone. okay.
Minestrone.
That
Yes.
could work.
Yeah. Tomatoes, beef. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Love it.
Out of,
Anyway.
Thank you.
out of
I-
curiosity,
Ah.
in the time that we spent engaging with the patron, did we regain any additional hit dice?
No. Nope. You have not had a long rest. You
Okay.
you had a 20-minute meal. So you are still where you were on that.
Right.
But Wimbledon, once he figures out where on the map he is and gets his bearings, scampers off down a side passage that is very narrow. You
Oh,
guys
there he goes
are able
again.
to squeeze through, but it is a tight fit, especially for the larger among you, which would be Vershana and a couple of, let's see,
Elishard.
Rorik would probably be okay, although he is pretty stout. But
I shift into my raven and hop through, so I have no problem.
Diamond has to squeeze a little bit.
you fat borb your way through. And eventually come to what appears to be a crevice into, you assume, a gutter or some sort of drainage. It's dry currently, but you guys can see where refuse and debris has washed down this channel. There is going to be some climbing, though. So I will need athletics checks from everybody.
Before I start climbing, I'm going to cast False Life on myself, just in case.
Okay.
Oh.
Oh, I don't have advantage, but 21 anyways.
21.
Really? Really? Fuck you.
What? Okay, so apparently check to make sure that your spells are set to roll dice rather than present spell cards with the new change.
Yes.
Because that's
Annoying.
That's not a number that helps.
Got changed. All right.
All right. So we've got Aurelia at 8, Zoe at 21, Diamond at 14. Still need 3 athletics checks once. We've got a 4.
I'm gonna opt to bird and fly up.
Okay. Fly is fine.
Gonna have to make flight trips
Also
up
didn't
and
help,
down
so
this
hang on.
cliff, aren't
1d4
I?
plus 24. All right. I got 28.
Okay.
I'll leave Jinx down with the group though.
I have 28 additional hit points on top of my thing.
All right. And I'll just need an athletics check for Elishard.
Athletics check. 12.
There's a done button.
This is why I cast False Life.
Mhm.
In case that 12
You guys
is-
begin to struggle upward, and the loose debris and the damp surfaces make climbing difficult. It's hard to find a decent grip, and it's hard to manage to get yourself into a good location. Zoe, you are the only one who manages to get up into an area where you think you might be able to attempt to see where you're coming out. As you get higher and higher, you can start to hear foot traffic, voices, vehicles passing by. It's obviously broad daylight on the surface, so there's an amount of activity out.
I can see Cole's bird form, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. Given that, I'm gonna sort of look over to him. Hopefully he'll go ahead because he will be able to see more or less suspiciously.
Okay.
As I'm sort of here. Just
Yep. Cole, you with your flight have managed to reach the sort of grate entrance to where it's the cracks in the grate are too small for even a small bird to get through. So you would have to shift and lift this thing up and open probably.
Okay. Does it look like there's a spot I'd be able to unshift and catch myself?
There's enough space where you would be able to just land on something and turn back.
Okay. Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay. If you're trying to remain unnoticed, give me a stealth roll.
Sure. Normal. 18.
18. All right. So you get to the point where you can get your hands on this grate and lift it up, and you just angle it a couple inches so you can sort of get an idea of the rough ground level perspective where you're at. And almost immediately, a pair of wagon wheels, one on each side of the grate, goes over top as something is pulled along, and the horse's hooves barely manage to dodge around the grate as it comes up.
Oh, fuck.
But you are basically coming out the middle of a street. You've been to Merc Dreamer Lanes once before, so you can kind of recognize the architecture and that sort of thing, especially as someone who's lived their life on the streets of the city.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys will be coming up in an area that's pretty close to the center of Merc Dreamer Lanes right now.
Okay.
It's a busy street, though, lots of foot traffic. And if the quarter is as sympathetic to the Dreamheart Road Compact, you may gather some unwanted attention if you just burst out in the middle of everybody all at once.
Yeah.
back to the people underground. Zoe, do you have any rope on you or anything?
I think I used that to tie someone up like 8 episodes ago, so I don't think I have it anymore. I think it got cut. But I do. I'll sort of wait and. Cole, what's up?
Yeah.
What's going on up there?
I think we're here, and busy street, middle of the day. It's going to be hard to get up there and not be noticed. I'll
Yeah.
see what I can.
You know what? Why don't I fly the rest of us up, and then we can. Does it seem like there's anywhere we could teleport to cover?
Did I see like an alleyway or any kind of empty-ish area?
Yeah, with a couple inches view, you can kind of get a rough aerial recon of what will be immediately following. There's a couple alleyways. Yeah. There's at least one building that looks more or less unoccupied at the moment, or fairly low in terms of the amount of occupants that it has. And you're accessing in a sewer. It's possible that you could travel further down those passages on the street gutters and try to find a separate exit point that might already
so
be
there's
more
other
covered.
tunnels.
Yeah, the tunnels extend in 2 different directions here. You're basically coming up into a busted out drainage ditch that's under the street level, more or less.
And yeah, there's tunnels, so we might be able to see if we can find somewhere else to pop up.
Okay, give me a minute to get everyone up here. They're not doing well. And I mean, I'm not super strong, but I'm going to use the thing to fly. I'm going to use my cloak for flight.
Okay.
That will last 4 whole minutes. That should be plenty of time.
Okay.
The plan is essentially starting with the person who made it the furthest up. Grab that person, fly up, fly down, grab the next person, fly up. If anyone seems like they're going to be totally fine on their own, like presumably Rorik didn't fail the athletics check.
Okay.
I won't.
Yeah, no, the barbarian and the fighter have remained at the bottom to see how you guys do before starting their own climb. But
okay. Fair.
Make sure the kids don't fall.
Aaron, are you going to try to assist people in their own climb or actively carry them yourself all the way up?
I mean, carrying people is a fairly standard aspect of most D&D situations, unless there's reasons it wouldn't happen the way carrying people otherwise happens.
Basically the way I'm seeing it work as the dice go out, if you're flying but helping somebody climb, they'll be making the check at advantage, whereas if you're just actively carrying somebody, you'll just be making a flat athletics check by yourself. If that makes sense to you guys.
Yes.
I guess that can be how it works now. Fine.
Okay.
I will help people, and then whoever is just not happening at the end, I'll turn him into a ferret or something.
Hey, that'll work. Yeah. All right. So as Zoe begins to assist people, you guys who have not yet ascended can make those checks at advantage again. But yeah, 4 minutes time will be enough for everybody.
18.
Are you shitting me? Really?
22.
Ah.
Okay. And let's see.
I feel like Diamond fails because Zoe is trying really hard to be romantic about it.
That is magnificent.
You can just see she's giggling the entire time, like, no, I got, no, it's fine. Wait, where are you touching?
Dear God.
Does Cora have disadvantage for some reason?
No, Cora's got advantage on this.
Okay.
Oh, right. Yes, sorry. I just saw the 16. I was like, well, I'm not going to do much better than that.
And you were right.
And
Yep.
I was right.
Yep.
Mhm. With assistance, the DC is lowered somewhat. So you guys are able to manage to clamber up. Let me make some rolls for the fightery people.
I summoned Jinx up back with
Is
me.
Rorik going to have to rage climb? Let's find out. Nope, Rorik's just fine. Although, for some reason, all of his skill proficiencies are gone, so I'll have to refill those back in at some point.
It helps that he has a war pick that he can just use to climb.
Yep, just slam into the side and
And presumably someone in this party has some rope.
yeah, you'll be
I
able
don't,
to.
but
I have.
I was gonna say I know Elishard does because Dungeoneer's pack, but
Yep.
After a period of time negotiating the craggy slopes and that sort of thing, you guys manage to slowly haul each person individually up into this drainage culvert. Virshana is the last one up, with basically clambering up as best he can, still maneuvering in the heavy armor, and with a small kobold just kind of latched onto his shoulder plates.
So, while people were climbing up, I would like to have been looking through the grate, not touching it or trying to go through, but looking through the grate and seeing how regularly wagons go over it.
Yeah. As you're just keeping an eye out, go ahead and roll a perception check. As you're trying to get the timing down correctly on this one.
8.
so
I
we'll
Did it as a panda, maybe I can
Sort
do
of
it again.
And so what?
is going to sort of explain what Cole saw to each person while helping.
Okay. Yeah. So everybody's apprised of the general environment as you come up and
I have a sudden inability to time shadows.
it's more that there's a lot going on. You're like, all right, how many of these are wagons? How many of these are just people riding horses? How many of these are hand barrows or hand carts or just foot traffic? There's a lot of activity up there, but best you can tell, there's some heavier stuff coming along probably every 2-3 minutes or so, as well as just your average pedestrian stuff too.
So we do have, as far as I'm aware, we do have the ability to teleport everybody out if we want to, but that's going to spend a lot of resources. I haven't, and this is out loud to the rest of the group. So that is a thing we can do, but it will spend a lot of resources. What, Aaron?
I'm confused.
I was saying we have the ability to teleport everybody out of here, but that would expend a lot of resources.
Yeah,
that would expend a lot of magic. If we could figure out my idea that potentially might work to help get a couple of us out without having to use all of our resources, people that think they might be able to do so, rather than. If we could figure out the timing of these wagons that are going over, it's entirely possible for somebody to slip out and maneuver out of the street and into a slightly more covered area or into the public and pass off as if they were already there in the time that a wagon is coming over, and those of us that are staying behind intending to teleport because we just can't sneak very well can pull the cover back over so that there's not a hole in the street remaining.
Yeah, that's a good idea. I personally think, Jack, do I have a general sense of, I lived in Markdrammer for a few years, right? So general sense of where this probably is?
If you go ahead and give me a perception check, see what you can see from down here.
Because Cole mentioned like it's pretty central. Fucking hell, no.
Yeah, you keep trying to get a glimpse, but as you do, somebody or something comes by, and you're still trying to stay as out of sight as you can, and you keep having to sacrifice your vantage point for concealment. Nobody notices you guys, so you're still safe there. You just haven't gotten a good bead on general.
This seems like it's a pretty crowded street. I know Mark Dreamer decently well. If we make our way down the sewers to somewhere or less occupied, we could expend fewer resources, but also with less risk.
That works,
Yeah.
It
yes.
feels, Zoe, you feel something tug on your sleeve a little bit.
Or our guide could do his job.
Wimbledon is sort of gesticulating wildly, seeming to indicate walk down the gutter
Okay,
this way
sorry.
a little more.
I was confused on the description and didn't realize that it continued on. My bad.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Yeah,
So yeah, you
that-
guys.
Again, that's why I said Zoe to reiterate.
Yeah, no. Yeah, so basically you guys are walking along a sunken channel. You're kind of having to crouch down. Vershana probably more than anybody else, obviously, because he's tall as fuck. But following the kobold, he scampers down the row a little bit as the sounds begin to die away slightly. Most of the activity seems to have been at this intersection, and he takes you 3 or 4 entrant grates down the row into what seems to be a slightly more quiet, secluded thoroughfare. And then he kind of jumps up, scrambling up the outside of the interior of the drainage culvert. And
Jack, assuming 4 minutes has passed, I'm just going to roll that.
Okay. Yeah, no,
timer
probably
thing.
about 4 minutes this time. Yep.
Yeah.
And he just starts swinging from the grate. Obviously, his feet don't touch the ground, so he can't lift it himself, but seems to indicate that this is the one.
I will lift.
All right.
I will like gently lift him and the grate up and see what's on the other side of
Yeah.
it.
So you just gotta one-handed up a little bit, and the kobold's just head comes up out of the he's looking around, and you take a peek as well. This one seems to be your, rather than an intersection of 2 main roads, you're now on a single fairly well-traveled road, but intersecting with just an alleyway. And you can see a little bit of foot traffic, probably 50 yards down or so, but nobody immediately at your location. And just off to the left, a large amount of just crates and things that are stacked up with a cargo net thrown over them that would conceivably provide some cover if somebody had to roll out and find a place to hide real quick.
Lower it back down. Look at the rest. This is much easier to get out of. There's cover over to the side. We're in sort of an alleyway area, and I'll describe the general layout of everything. Good to go out?
Yeah.
And then what? Should we have some sort of plan before we start walking around? We have to find where
Well,
they're.
I'm
They're-
assuming that since they're familiar with it, Zoe can point us in a direction of a place where we can stop, take a breather, and plan.
Right.
So
Okay.
that first.
All right.
Okay. So as you guys come out, as you're looking to remain undiscovered, I will have everybody give me stealth checks unless there's any last minute preparations that you need to do.
I will ask if
You're muted, Nikki.
I figured as much. I'm gonna cast Merge with Stone. Yeah, do it. There you go. Bam. Nice. Enjoy that.
I'm gonna ask if Elishard can lift the grade up big enough for me to fly out, and then that way I can leave Jinx down and let them know when the coast is clear to roll up.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's easy enough.
All right.
We have a bird. We have a bird.
Literally,
Yeah,
eye in the
eyes
sky.
in the sky.
We have
Yep.
eyes in the sky and +10 on our stealth checks. All right.
All right. So with Cole acting as your spotter, you guys will be making stealth checks at advantage with a +10.
Yep.
Yeah.
Here we go. One at a time. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Seal
I'm
Team
stowing-
6.
I'm stowing my
26.
gun away for now.
Okay.
So it's not
Just
as-
dropping it into the pocket.
Yep.
26.
One at a time. Call us off so we don't all do it at once.
Okay. So we got 26, 26, 21.
Yep.
Aaron, you go ahead. 24.
24.
Nikki,
Oh.
26.
Lots of
All right.
26s.
Lots of 26s. 26 is a good number. Let's see. Vershana
Someone
gets a
with a negative.
27. Wow. That's surprising.
It's because he can just
Rorik.
stand up and step out of the sewer, so it's just like.
Yep. Rorik gets a 24. And Wotan is in a different folder. There he is.
Your dwarf is in a different folder.
He's not in a folder at all. He's in a sewer.
At least he's not in a castle.
Right.
Just depends on how far out you extrapolate the definition of castle, really.
Wotan's going to have to just make a straight stealth roll because he's in plate armor. And Wotan got a 12.
Like,
Also
is
bad.
that with the plus 10?
That's with the plus 10. He's
Yeah.
2. And he has no modifier.
2 is better than 1.
Yes, it is. So, yeah. But as a group, you guys managed to, one after the other, pop out, duck into the shadows, pop out, dive behind the crates, pop out, hide in the corner. You know, the whole schematic. It's like watching a clown car, except it's a whole sewer. And then the clowns vanish after like 5 seconds. But you guys are now sort of in a distributed slightly manner, secreted about the current surroundings.
I like the idea that the 2 means Wotan gets stuck halfway out the thing, and so
Right. Yeah.
someone has to come and pull him out. But
Wotan
because he
kind of
didn't,
Winnie the Pooh's his way out of this thing.
but because he didn't get a 1, we get him out before anybody sees him.
Right. Mm-hmm. At which point, you hear a loud clanging sound. All of you are familiar with this sound. The town criers in Conflux frequently carry around a large bell that they just ring whenever there's announcements to be had. And someone down towards that main intersection is ringing a bell that apparently is going to be drawing quite a bit of attention to whatever it is they have to say. Zoe, as you're looking around and kind of getting a bearing now that you're on the outside, you recognize that the main intersection down there, you guys are coming out on an alley alongside Gosford Avenue. But the big intersection is between 2 roads, Gosford and Mickelforth. And it's a place that carries a lot of traffic in both cardinal directions throughout the quarter. And it's adjacent to one of the larger, like little town market squares where people set up stands, and there's some notable businesses there and that sort of thing. So it's a pretty impressive location as far as finding things, but both those avenues will give you guys pretty decent access to move fairly rapidly throughout Merc Dreamer once you guys decide exactly where you're headed.
I feel like the first place I want to head is I want to try and head somewhere that's secluded where we can regroup. We don't necessarily need to rest, but we do need to figure out what our exact plan is now that we're on the surface.
Mm-hmm.
Like, given Zoe's general temperament, she's definitely got a few places that are like, oh, this warehouse is abandoned and fairly quiet, or oh, this is the top floor of this is rented by someone who doesn't actually live here.
Right. Based on your current location, you're about 30 minutes away from by foot from the laundromat where you stayed most of the time, did most of your work.
Mm-hmm.
You're about an hour away from your primary contact here in Merc Dreamer.
Okay.
If you're looking for like a vacant building or somewhere that's...
Yeah, I'm not really intending to lead the group either of those places.
Okay.
More the thing I described. Just...
Right. If you're looking for a vacant area, probably about 10 minutes down, there's a warehouse that's only sporadic. It's more used for storage than for actual trafficking of things in and out on a frequent basis. There will probably be some people there just keeping an eye on things, but it's fairly quiet. And as long as you don't kick up a fuss, you could probably stay out of sight pretty easily.
Yeah.
Nearby.
Yeah. If I think that that's You know exactly what I, out of character,
Right.
am looking for. I'm
Yeah.
looking for a place where the party can plan without having to constantly be like, oh, I check for someone and oh, I whisper for
Okay.
every 3 sentences.
Yes. Sounds good.
So yeah, I'll go to that place.
Okay.
While we're moving, I'm also going to try to listen for whatever that crier has to say because it might be relevant.
Yeah.
Okay.
Same.
Yeah.
Anybody who's making a listen can give me a perception check. The path that you're taking to this warehouse is going to lead you close-ish. So
26.
8.
That's not a distance. That's not an
21.
advantage.
5.
So Zoe and Cole, you guys can both pick out the majority of what's being said. Apparently today is going to be a public execution. Something has happened that warrants a death sentence, and they are being executed by voiding, which means usually
Brought from people
reserved.
off the edge of the world.
Yep, usually reserved for only the most heinous or executions where you really need to make a statement, and they are going to be throwing somebody off the edge of Merc Dreamer into open air until they die either, well, presumably they die. Starvation, dehydration, exposure, nobody really knows because those people don't come back and you don't recover bodies. But it's being done by order. You hear them at the beginning of the announcement calling out that this is being done by order of the Dreamheart Compact and true rulers of Merc Dreamer Lanes and eventual masters of Conflux is how it's being presented.
All right.
Yep. Let's have stealth checks as you guys make your way towards this. These are flat rolls with the +10 though. Still, that's still active.
Very dedicated.
24.
Oh. 15.
All right. So we got a 15, a 14, a 25, a 27, 27, 24. All right. Let me make a couple rolls here as well. That's a 17.
We are the
That's the
sneakies, John.
worst.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You are demuted, John.
I was going to say, we can't hear you.
I wasn't
sir.
muted. I was just turned down. I don't know what you're talking about, Looms and Reaper.
A 19.
They're standing. They're going to be standing on the edge, so we need a Lucio or a very dedicated Reinhardt.
No, a Hammond. Hammond is what you want, man.
That would also work.
Bowling pins.
Farah, airborne.
Yep. Boop.
Just curious. I don't know if I heard it. Did the town crier say what time of day that was happening?
It is imminent. Basically, they're making the announcement of the execution will take place. Head that way to be seen or to see it.
Like within the next 30 to an hour.
Probably within the hour or so. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Did they give?
No, we're not going to stop the execution. We don't even know if we like the person being executed.
Yes,
Oh,
but
no.
we could go there and like take
We
the
should
temperature
definitely
of the
check
room.
and see
We'll
who it
figure that
is.
out once we get to a safe place and can.
None of you
discuss.
heard that. Cole and
know.
I heard that.
Yeah.
I know.
I was
Alright.
doing it for Nikki's clarification, but yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. No, not the, yeah.
Okay. But without too much trouble, actually, and given the general perceptiveness of everybody that I've rolled for, yeah, you guys make it to the Waterstruck storage warehouse and find a fairly isolated area of the yard, kind of crouched down behind some wagons with some tarps over them that have just been kind of parked there and chained up. And you now have yourself a slightly sheltered corner to hide in for a moment as you plan your next step. So go right ahead.
Okay.
So there's
All right. We should be able to talk here for a bit. we need to take them down without turning an entire district against us, and preferably also lift however they've locked Schmirkdreamer off.
That's
Um,
something they've locked Merkdreamer. That the locking of Merkdreamer off. That's just a state of Merkdreamer lanes.
I
not-
was under the impression that it was guards was how they were keeping people.
So yeah, I was gonna say. So what you guys know about the situation already, just to recap, because it's been a while since we revisited this information. Obviously, Merkdreamer can only be entered physically by people who have dreamed about it before. So there is that. What you guys were made aware of from the rumors and stuff that you had picked up, the Dautrains, who are a Merkdreamer-based noble house, have sort of fallen underneath the influence of Dreamheart Road. One of their members, Gabal, is also a member of the Warlock Compact, so that's probably the in there. The Dautrains have assumed control of Merkdreamer Lane. They've also co-opted the entire warder force. So you've got more or less an entire precinct of cops who are currently guarding the points of access to Merkdreamer, as well as doing their standard duties, one would presume, and prohibiting
Overworked. That's good.
Yep. And prohibiting entrance and exit through that. Supplies were, until you changed it more or less, smuggled in by the Scalebelly Syndicate. But yeah, the primary power base in Merkdreamer is a group of warlocks allied with an existing noble house with the local warders as more or less their muscle and small private army.
It is our general estimation that if the noble house and the compact were no longer supporting them and they no longer had resources coming in, that this would just not be sustainable.
Without resources coming in, and if you can upset the power structure, yes, that would be very likely to move it very quickly into a non-sustainable situation.
So, all right. So I guess if we take down the compact and preferably also shake up the noble house, that should clear the board in such a way this will fall apart on its own.
Yeah.
If there's any pieces we want to grab while we're here for our own influence, that's fine. But mostly we take out the competition.
They may have another one of these artifacts. I know when Hedon had his dream that informed us about this, he said he saw the Dautrain, the warlock that's from their house.
Did he say what if there was any sort of symbolically any artifact next to him, or?
I don't think so, and if I'm remembering, I don't think so. If I was
I think
wrong
it
about
just
that,
he
but-
saw them all
Yeah.
across in between him and Cabal.
Yep.
So that at that point you guys didn't have any of them, right?
No.
Yeah.
So that may have been more you're both seeking the same thing kind of imagery.
Yes.
Potentially. So they might not have one.
They might, though. I think
Yeah,
it's something we
they
should
might
keep an
not.
eye out for.
Okay. Yeah, that's definitely something to grab. If they have one, I want that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or I want us to have that.
If they have one, we should get it, but they might not necessarily have one. So
We need to take them down silently then if we don't want to draw the ire of this entire district.
Did anybody hear what the crier was yelling about?
Yeah, they're gonna void somebody.
Ooh.
Unclear.
Good-
They
yeah,
don't
good
usually
question.
announce that. I didn't hear
But
a crime.
it's because of what the compact here has ordered. So
So
it's
if
probably
everyone's-
it's obviously somebody they don't want alive.
If everyone's going over to the wall to watch the voiding, that would give us an Zoe, do you know where the Dautrain estate is?
Presumably.
Yeah, you've got a
Have
decent
I
idea.
this is an important question. Have I ever worked as a laundry assistant there?
They have their own house staff. So if any of their laundry has come through your place, it was brought by staff, dropped off, and then picked up by
No,
your staff.
you know what I'm asking.
Mhm.
Though,
Yep.
in
But yeah,
terms
no,
of,
you're
like,
you're familiar with the location. Yep.
what my
So
previous role in assassinations
and,
was.
and, and
Yeah, I know where it is, and noble houses are noble houses. I know how to get into noble houses to kill people. That's literally my job.
so Jack, correct me if anything coming out of my mouth sounds wrong for a warder to be saying.
Okay.
So, because one of the nobles is part of the compact, I imagine they have their base of operations set up either there or somewhere nearby. At the very least, they probably have some sort of connection, like some sort of information connection there. We could, while everybody's distracted with the execution, use that as an opportunity to sneak into the estate, the noble estate, scour for any information we can find, and if that is their base of operations, set up an ambush for when they get back.
What if the person they're voiding has information on them?
That's my.
I mean, do you think...
They want them dead for a reason, I would assume.
So, I mean, we could also very easily just kick them all off into the void ourselves while they're there. The question
That's
there being,
highly visible.
That's highly visible. That's the issue, is that
And if
interfering
they're
with
there.
if they're there, and interfering with that's going to be very visible and very immediately let everyone know we're here. So I'm not certain if the risk of the person they're voiding might have irrelevant information is worth us sounding the alarm bell.
And getting an eye on them and seeing what we can figure out about that
So,
compact, because we know
yeah,
nothing.
This is probably cultural information that we have that I don't
Mhm.
have. Is like hitting the void death, or could you just like fly and catch someone?
You could conceivably fly and catch someone. Yeah, it's just open air.
Well, they're voiding the person, right?
Yeah.
What if one of us with flight, either teleportation, that's got enough range, waited until the person was out of sight and took the person back up somewhere where they wouldn't be seen? It's not like people check for bodies after voiding. It's not hanging, where it sometimes doesn't work.
Jack,
They're gonna get a
Let's see.
fair distance away.
You'd have to time that exceptionally well.
Jack,
At worst case scenario, you have to not catch the person. But
I
Yeah.
mean,
No,
teleport is
Case scenario, you are voided.
well, hang on. Jack, question.
You have voluntarily voided.
this is why I asked the GM whether or not this was true before everyone jumping on me because I got my facts wrong.
No,
your facts are right. You haven't said
you're-
anything that's
yeah,
incorrect.
your facts are right.
Mhm.
Yep.
People
Yeah.
are just voicing potential worst case scenarios.
Yep.
But yeah, no. Worst case scenario, you miss the person, but if you're flying, so you'll be fine. Yeah. Anyway,
Jack, has there been any study whatsoever, and I know this
Mhm.
is probably a no, as to whether or not magic continues to work while you're falling into the void?
That's
you have
my concern.
no idea.
Yeah. So like, it's an entirely sound premise, and it's not a. And it's
Look,
not a
I'm
bad
not in
plan.
favor of saving the person at all. I
No,
think that there are better things we could be
Yeah.
doing with our time, but there is a chance this person could be an asset.
I
Yeah.
think we should find out who it is because we've been gone for a little while, and if it's somebody that benefits them to execute it, it might be somebody we care about.
I mean, have we had any direct interaction with this compact?
Well,
We've ran into them a couple
dreams.
times.
In the
Not
dream.
really.
Like that's the thing. It's
Are the odds high? No.
So what
Is
you
there a
guys,
chance?
especially you
We
guys
can
that have
find
been
out
here from
without
the
a
beginning,
concern.
what you guys here from the beginning would know is that you have run into this compact directly, I think twice.
Yeah.
Indirectly, you've run into their influence a couple times, but
Right.
directly was twice. First at the party where you met the professor, and then second, you guys got to the crystal about 2 minutes before they did, the one that's living in Diamond's chest right now. And they encountered you there and then sort of agreed to a tentative ceasefire that both of you
Oh,
broke.
that's right. I remember that. That was a good one.
Them by sending mercenaries to sort of catch anybody else on the way, and you guys by sneaking in there and stealing shit.
So yeah.
Yeah, we had
if
the-
if
I'm
Mhm.
simply pointing out if we can find out who without any particular risk.
yeah.
I'll be honest, I'm worried about burning our chance and resources on the possibility of an ally over a definitive victory.
I will repeat the without any risk.
Yeah, but it's
That includes expending resources is a risk.
expending any amount of time is going to be an expenditure of resources.
Yes,
these days.
if we can do it, that's what I'm saying. If we can do it quickly and easily, it might be worth finding out.
So, relative to the wall, do you know where the Dautrain estate is? Like,
Jack?
Yep.
Presumably.
Yeah. Dautrain Estate is about half an hour, 40 minutes walk west of the wall. Mercdreamer only borders the void in a fairly small proportion of its entire perimeter. So wherever it is that they're voiding, it would be fairly close.
Yeah.
If you guys are looking at the map, the Dautrain Estate is basically right above the A in Mercdreamer.
okay. So, they're, like all likelihood, nobles being nobles, they're going to go for the point in the wall closest to the estate.
Which by your measurement is about 5 feet.
5 feet that way.
Where are we in relation to this?
You guys are roughly below the A in, or roughly between the A and the N in lanes right now.
Okay.
Mm.
So with that information having been extrapolated out by Zoe, so in all likelihood, understanding nobles as I feel like I do at least, they're likely going to go for the spot closest to the wall between closest to their house from the wall, both of which are in roughly the same direction. So we can start heading towards the estate, and a few of us that have long-range communication capabilities can break off to go see if they can gather that name and see if it's relevant to any of us, while the rest of us case the house and determine our point of entry. That will spend the least amount of time working on getting that information, while also keeping us open to the ability of setting up an ambush. And if the name of this person is relevant to us, those of us at the house can break off and come assist. Does that sound like a reasonable idea?
Fine. Don't spend your magic. Don't blow our cover. Let's do it.
I would suggest having the people go to the wall not have magical items on them. Those are very rare, and if anyone has the abilities that I do to see, that's going to paint a target on our backs.
Well, I think Zoe and I, at the very least, are probably better off casing the house.
We're casing the
Yeah.
place, yeah.
Okay. So with the structure of a plan in place and a couple different objectives for you guys to pursue, we will pick up at this point next time we're back, which is not this following week, if I am correct.
It'll be 2020 when we come back.
Yes, it'll be in the new year when we get back.
All right.
Next week, this time is Boxing
Day.
Say goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Goodbye.